All right, everybody, thanks for bearing with us. I know it's been a really long day of amazing content. Thank you so much to Jazz for putting this all together. Met some wonderful people, as always, at the Elevate Conference. And this has become the preeminent event in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Today, for this session, we're going to be talking about something that is very, very, very important, okay? And that's all you people. All you people out there need protection. You need to make sure that you hire good people. You need to make sure that you retain great people, because that is your most important asset, all right? So the title of this session is Building Your Team, Hiring, Training, and Retaining Great Employees. It is the backbone of our industry. I know a lot of people talked about inventory management. A lot of people talked about protecting your balance sheet and your profitability. But we're going to really focus on what's the most important thing, and that's your people, all right? Today I have an esteemed panel here that we're going to get them to introduce themselves. A wonderful panel here with ALLIE Donald, General Manager of Sativa Bliss. ZARINA Pipersburg, we found ZARINA from the Honeypot. She's the manager there. We have Laura GLATT, who is the manager at the Woods Cannabis in Brampton. Big shout out to Brampton, B-Town. And then we have Nick McGahey, owner of Twisted Roots Cannabis, all the way from Oshawa. My name is VIRDI. I am the Chief Sales Officer for the Cannabis Specialty Practice Group at Hub International, where we protect what matters most, and that's your people, your profitability, and your product, all right? So why don't we just go down the line here? ZARINA, why don't we just start with you, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm ZARINA. Please call me Z. All my friends do. I'm the manager of, I just recently, hey, can you hear me better now? Sorry about that. I manage, I've had the pleasure of managing several locations at the Honeypot. Love what I do. We have an amazing team. We've recently expanded to over 35 stores. So really pleasure to be here, and thanks so much for having me, guys.
And we can go with Laura. Laura, go ahead.
My name is Laura. I am the manager currently of the Woods in Brampton. I do have quite a bit of experience in the recreational as well as the legacy market as a manager, bud tender, all of the above. Yeah, pleasure to be here today.
And then we have ALLIE Donald. Everybody knows the wonderful ALLIE. Go ahead.
Hi. So I've been very lucky to be a part of this industry from the legacy market. Very much happy to say that I was part of the first 25. I've now been managing for the last 3 years with Jazz, and learned and have grown so much that I'm just happy to spread my knowledge along.
Right. And we have Nick McGahey. Nick, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick, and I have been in this since legalization. I got started in Alberta, and I moved my way east because it was warmer. So yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Learned a lot, made some mistakes, had some high times as well, no pun intended. And yeah, just love the people, love the community, and want to spread the good word.
All right, that's wonderful. So we're going to break this down in a couple of buckets, right? We're going to talk about attracting top talent. We're going to talk about onboarding and training, some of the best practices that everybody can kind of learn from. And then how do you keep that talent, right? You found the right person, you hired them up. Now, how do you keep them? And then we'll talk about some of the way we're looking at onboarding, future trends in the industry with the new teammates as well, all right? And then we'll save some time for questions, because I know there might be some burning questions out there, or I might just start picking off people, okay? So, Nick, why don't we start with you? I mean, understanding the marketplace, what are some of the unique challenges that specifically a cannabis retailer faces when you're trying to attract top talent?
I would say in the beginning, it was pay, when there weren't so many stores. And then as it progressed, it was, obviously there's a lot of variables that come into play, but like, I think for my company, it's just giving the staff what they need, what they want, being there for them, supporting them, because I have had staff leave for higher pay, which sometimes I just can't compete with that. So it's just giving them what they need, if it works for me as well, and allowing them to grow within our business and take on more responsibility.
All right, that's important, kind of promise and hope of future growth, right? Other than just dollars, right?
Yeah, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So it's making sure that our expectations are set in the beginning, and that there's going to be wage increases as they progress through the years in the company. But again, you don't want to say you'll be a manager in 2 years, because you just never know what's going to happen. So it's setting their expectations as well as mine, and just kind of growing with them and see kind of what their niche is.
Okay, great. And when you learn about your employee, ALLIE, maybe you could take this one. What makes the ideal candidate profile, right? Like, what unique characteristics does someone have to have on some of the things that Nick mentioned? Maybe you can build upon it. What is your ideal candidate?
I honestly do not care where you come from. You can come from Cannabis, you can come from Walmart, you can come from Tim Hortons. I've had one of my best employees come from Tim Hortons. It's all about passion. If you have passion for the plant, you'll have passion for the job, you'll have passion for what we do, and you'll be wanting to do more instead of the bare minimum. If you don't have the passion, you're never going to progress.
No, great stuff here. Passion is definitely something that, I think the cannabis industry doesn't lack. I think we have a lot of passionate people. It's a matter of finding the right person, right?
Sometimes I find that a lot of people, especially bud tenders, get in this business thinking that's going to be easy. I'm going to smoke a joint on my lunchtime. I'm going to, do whatever I want. And it's just, we're selling weed. It's cool. No, it's not cool. We have to answer to people. We have to answer the AGCO. We have to answer to our investors at the end of the day. It's not just cool. We have to have a passion and to sell it, to realize what the product is, that it's not just this easy thing to sling out the door.
Great point. It's not just a bake all day. You have a job and you have to take care of people's revenue.
If I could be baked all day, I would be, but I can't. You can't.
Exactly. So, why don't we get to where this talent comes from, right? Like, how do you source this talent? And Laura, maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the avenues you use to find these people. They're not just all going to come to you, the greatest people. So what are some of the best practices you use there?
I'm sure we're all familiar with the good old Indeed, which I will be 100% honest is generally the way I go when it comes to finding talent. But something I've come to notice over the years is Indeed is one thing, and yes, I have found great employees on Indeed, but some of the best employees I've ever had are people who have literally come to me off the street with their resume, with their cancel in hand, like, listen, I don't have any cannabis experience, but I really want to work in this industry. I'm very passionate about it. And I've either interviewed them on the spot or called them back in, and they're some of my best employees to this day. So I would say it's sort of a combination of both. I feel like you can retain great employment using the everyday avenue of Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all those places. But you can actually find really great employees just by sort of networking and taking in the resumes of the people that come into your stores. Just sort of getting face-to-face with people.
No, great answer. And I don't want you guys to be fighting over talent here, but this next question will be a little bit provocative, okay? Twisted Roots, The Woods, Sativa, Bliss, The Honey Pot, excellent branding, great brand recognition. I think a lot of people in Ontario know about these brands. But as an employer, how do you highlight your profile as a brand? How do you make yourself stand out as far as your community culture and what people are looking for to work at a place? And Z, maybe you could take this one.
Well, our brand really has a reputation, a good reputation. And I think that's really been fostered with not just our customers. Being an OG in the industry, it was the first store that was legalized. So we do have that going for us. Not a lot of stores do. So I think that fostering that sense of ownership and pride within our staff has really worked to foster a culture of just loving what we do and really exuding that, love and passion to our customers. And that helps to build our brand up with a lot of positivity, and moving forward, you know, a lot of the people that we do have returning customers, you know, they talk about our passion for what we do. You know, they come to us because of our name alone. And I'd like to think that that's not just our staff, that's our wonderful customers too. Word of mouth and all that wonderful stuff just comes together. Fostering a real strong sense of workplace culture, really important too. Keeping diverse with who we have in our organization. You know, staying completely diverse and not monocultural really helps to, you know, keep everybody inclusive with who we are. And I think that comes through with everybody.
Great answer. Anybody else want to jump in there? How do you make your company, your dispensary, your employer brand stand out?
I think one of the biggest things is that remembering that our employees are human. They sometimes get sick. They sometimes have unfortunate things happen, and being lenient once in a while is okay. It's okay to give them an extra day. One thing that I do on purpose is when people book off vacation, I never put them the next day. If they say that they're available that day, guess what? You're not. Because I will never put you that day knowing that you came back from vacation. That's not a way to get back into work. You're going to come in not wanting to work. I'd rather you come in wanting to work. Giving you that extra day grace is something that I can do for free as a retailer that's not going to cost me anything.
Good answer. Nick?
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with that too. Like, it's looking out for your people, and like your brand, like your name can be anything. I've had to rebrand my business in May of this year, so we were a different company before, but now being Twisted Roots, like it's the same people. I'm still there, but it's having that trust within your staff, and that trust ripples out into your community. So they're still coming back to you. Like, I had people come to our store 4 or 5 months after we name changed, and they had no idea we had a name change because we still kept the same kind of energy with our staff and our product. And so I think for my value anyway, it comes down to like just trusting the team. We support each other, and then they support the customers. And if customers don't support you know, our staff, then they're not, you know, welcome in our store.
So ALLIE and Nick, you're kind of talking a little bit about retaining, right? And we'll get to that a little bit later as far as keeping your employees happy. But now that you found the right person, you attracted the top talent, you know, what are some of the best onboarding practices that you have? And, you know, maybe, you know, you can tell a little bit without unveiling all the secret sauce, but what other retailers can learn from onboarding best practices? And Laura, maybe you can go ahead and answer that one.
So one thing I'm a true believer in is not only having a 2-step interview process. I like to involve my team in the interview process, even if it's just having a team lead or a bud tender sit in with me on a second interview so that they can tell me how they feel about that specific candidate. But once the person is hired, it's really, for me, a matter of keeping the check-in going. So a first week check-in, you know, a 3-day check-in, 30-day check-in, the 90-day. How can I help you in your role? And is there anything I'm missing? Do you feel like you need more training in a certain area? Is there anywhere you're not quite comfortable that you want to learn more about? Or what are your growth expectations? So just really being in tune with that employee and just sort of, I guess, making sure they're comfortable in a sense.
That's a great strategy. You got to check in day 3 to make sure that they didn't lose their mind or they got yelled at by an unruly customer, right? You know, that's great. You know, stay on top of it without babysitting, but making sure that a new person is onboarded and feeling comfortable, because it can be daunting when you get a new job. I think everybody's suffered that or experienced that before. You know, Z, why don't you talk a little bit further about training programs? And training programs can be both on how you want your employees to talk to your customers, but also there's a lot of compliance in the cannabis industry. Does anybody know that? There's a lot of compliance in the cannabis? Anybody? No? No? Yeah, right? So let's talk about how you train people on how to sell your product, be in your store, and then how you make sure that they're compliant, because last thing we want is to jeopardize the brand or the store.
And of course, we want our stores to stay open. So we do have to stress the AGCO compliance, first and foremost. But it is a delicate balance of keeping it fun, keeping training and onboarding, that engagement with that stress on, maintaining the ability to stay open and in business. So what we really like to do, and what I really like to do personally, is while there is a compartmentalization to onboarding, once you've done step A, you're moving on to step B. Once we have all your, paperwork, we're going to move you into this. I think it's a really easy way to sort of get all the paperwork out of the way first before they're starting their first day, which is what we like to do. But just to piggyback off of that, I think it's really important to ask your staff how they want to learn as well. I think sometimes we forget that. So I really like to stress to any new hire, how do you learn? How can I make this easier for you? And a combination that works really well for us is a combination of LMS, a combination of seeing it on paper, and a combination of role play. I can't tell you how many times it's been really easy to catch a question that I might not have even had asked by a customer yet, with an engagement we have with a new staff member going, can I come in and can I use this cream for my aches and pains from this medical concern? And just engaging that staff member and having them ask me a question that I might not have thought of, to work around some of these complex ways that the AGCO makes us work around some of these questions. But yeah, I find role play usually the best way for us and me.
And ALLIE, Nick, this might roll into some of the stuff that you guys were talking about our third big rock item, which is retaining talent. But how do you continually develop your staff? Do you use any third-party systems? I know the 3-day, 1-month check-in that you mentioned earlier that works at the Woods. What else do you do for continuous development? I'd love to hear from both of you.
So we actually do weekly education that we as employees create. So every Monday we have a manager's meeting. On that manager's meeting, we do education on the brand new products coming in that we educate ourselves on, and then we educate our managers on, and then those managers trickles down to the employees. That is also posted in our stores on a weekly basis as well. It's a touch point for not only education, but discounts, different changes, little tidbits and information. We use it as just basically a bulletin board, but also educational on the same hand.
We kind of have like a flat level at Twisted Roots. So my staff have access to the OCS wholesale as well as all of our accessory providers. So it's nice to, like every Tuesday usually on delivery days, so today, we kind of chat about what we want to bring in next week and what's new, what's innovative. We try and find all the new drops that are coming in and have at least a few of those things kind of flowing through. And I think it's all about just working as a team and getting everybody involved, because there's so much new stuff coming out every week. It's kind of hard to keep track sometimes. So when all of us kind of put our heads together, I find it's just it's a good outcome because we all have different perspectives that we can put on it. And I just find that helps us kind of keep on top of things, keeps it fun. There's always good flour out there and different kind of products. So that's how we operate.
To add to Nick, I also do a group chat. It's every single person in the entire company. And as you buy a product...
Did you steal that concept from Jazz? Is that what it is?
Do you think it was Jazz?
Jazz is the... Oh! I guess it's you, ALLIE.
But we do a group chat. So as you buy a product, you take a picture of that product, you actively consume that product, you put that feedback right into the group chat. I find that has been the biggest selling point for my employees, because then they know if they're going to recommend it or not. And if they don't recommend it, if they say something bad in that group chat, I know I'm not going to bring it back in. I know it's not going to come back because my staff doesn't like it. One staff member's opinion is going to change everybody else's.
What I'm hearing from everybody is building that positive culture, continuous engagement with everybody on an ongoing basis, whether it's a group chat that ALLIE fostered and originated, or if it's just monthly check-ins or feedback from everybody, right? We want to hear back from them, not just be told what to do. So before I get to the big rock item about retaining talent, I want to really pause here and talk a little bit about something that can be a difficult situation. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, folks. Depending on what kind of strain you smoke, you might feel some type of way sometimes. But how do you know when to pull the plug on an employee? Very, very tough question. And this wasn't in the notes that I prepared, so I'm kind of freestyling here. But Laura, tell us about a tough situation where you had to pull the plug and how you managed that.
I actually had something happen quite recently that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do as a manager. For anybody who works in a dispensary, I'm sure you are all well aware of the whole scam that is going on right now, where they like to call and be like, I'm the owner, send all this money to Mexico through Bitcoin, and will not have to pay $10,000 in fines. I had, and to be fair, they were good. They completely AI generated my voice to make it sound like it was actually me on the phone with them. It went far, and she ended up getting scammed for quite a large sum of money. And I unfortunately had to let go of that employee. I somewhat got lucky because she knew ultimately I had to do what I had to do. But it's still, she was by far one of my best employees. Definitely by far one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But it was a matter of just sitting down with her and being like, listen, you're forever valuable to this company. You know, you're a human being. Mistakes will always be made. I will forever stand behind you. Any reference you need, all of that. I tried to not only make it a positive experience for her, but a positive experience for everyone in general. Just so it didn't have to come off as bad of a situation as it did.
No, great example. And coming from a risk management insurance background, if anybody, you retail owners know this, there is a ton of this going on right now. There are cyber security threats, there are phishing materials. You gotta make sure you train your employees to be aware of these things. ALLIE, do you have a story?
So I had a store manager, and I gave him 6 months. So what I did was I went through the steps. I first gave him a verbal. I gave him a warning. I then gave him a performance plan. And I said, if you do not exceed or meet this performance plan, unfortunately, it will be the end. It's putting it in their hands, because at the end of the day, you can ask them all day long, what do you need, what do you need, what do you need? And you can provide them with what they need, but they still don't take accountability. And that's my biggest thing, is that they don't like to take accountability. It's super important to take accountability, not only as a retailer, because absolutely we mess up sometimes. Sometimes we think a law is this way and it's not. It's a different way. Sometimes we feel passionate about something and they don't feel as passionate. But it's important for them to recognize and take that responsibility and putting it in their hands. So I always do a performance plan. Performance plans are so important. You put down exactly what you're looking for out of that employee. If that employee does not hit that performance plan, there's nothing more that you can do, because you have put it in plain, straightforward, bulletin expectations.
Great. And Nick, you can spin off a story if you have one. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, you don't. But I wanted you to build a little bit about, you talked about building a positive culture. Can you just give us a little bit of the elements? Because everybody knows what that means, but how can you help some of the store owners here replicate some of the success that you've had? What are some of the elements of building that positive culture?
For me personally, it depends on your values. So I want trust, integrity, what you said, like ownership. And if you don't have that, and I've gone through staff that didn't align with what I feel is right, so then they have to go. But when you do kind of sift through the employees there and find the right ones that do align, then it's easy. Then you can have those harder conversations, but still work together to move through them and not just avoid them and go around them. And so for me, it's just having weekly conversations, just talk to them like a human being, and supporting them when they have their hard time with their family or if they need a day off. A big one I find myself having small children is that to a kid, having their parent present for a dance class is very important. So making sure that, my one guy has Friday evenings off to watch his girl go to dance class. So I think it's just really getting to know your staff, get to know what they need, trying to make that work for your business, and also, making sure it works for yourself too. But just supporting them kind of any way you can.
Great. And Z, maybe you could take this one. As simplistic as it may sound, how about buying somebody lunch? How about getting the staff to do, I don't know, a pizza party, right? Has that ever been effective? And do people really respond to that, or is that something that's not so effective?
You'd be surprised how much pizza can sway me in a contest. And a lot of folks. I do think that it's those little things that make people feel appreciated. I think the most important thing when you have your frontline workers is to have that appreciation, because if they feel valued, they're going to want to work hard for your brand, first and foremost. So give them back a little something. Give them, recognizing those little things, I think, in any relationship, not just, a workplace environment, can really help foster that sense of pride and ownership of what you do. And I'll be honest with you, even just little contests I've run, are effective, but I can't tell you how often I'll just say, here's $10 towards a pre-roll. That was a great sale you just did. Just give them that recognition on the spot. And again, you got the wheels turning, you're going to have them cooking with oil. Give it away. It's little things that mean a lot to others.
Yeah, little things go a long way. And we know expenses can be very tough in this very competitive and compliance-driven market for all you retail owners and managers. But it's the little things that count. You're going to give that little oomph of energy and positivity and that drive for your employees to do what's best for the store and what's best for the client, right? Laura, we always talked a little bit on this before we got on stage about employee engagement, right? We talked about feedback. How else can you keep them engaged, as far as the example that ALLIE used about letting them review products and sharing it with the team? Are there any other examples that you use that have been very successful for you?
I would say providing ways for them to learn about new things. So whether it be like a store competition, I like to do my stuff as a team. I do love to reward my team individually, of course, but as a team, just saying, okay, our goal last month was this, let's hit this goal this month, and everybody gets, a sample of a certain product. Or, just sort of making everybody come together is kind of where I would say it's worked the best for me personally.
Anybody else? Any other thoughts? Go ahead.
I got rid of our the old school phone and got an iPhone for our store. And I find that's helped because then I got Instagram on there, so then my staff can take pictures for one, share stuff, and they can also reach out to the reps through Instagram too. And then I can, of course, watch that, making sure they're not doing anything they shouldn't be. But I find that's been helpful too, is they can reach out to the reps. If I have a couple days off and something goes down at the store, then they can reach out to the MTL rep or whatever, and they can clarify that with the rep and get it sorted out. And giving them that responsibility also makes them feel good, and they have a say in the store.
Interesting. Social media engagement. That's great. Yeah.
I think that you just had a great thought there, and it's giving them responsibility, making them feel like they're actually a vital piece of the store, giving them an opinion. Their opinion is as important as us as upper management. Listen, not everybody's idea is a good idea. We all thought every idea in our lifetime was a good idea. I think that would be incorrect. But it's important to make them feel as though they're making a difference, making the change that they want. And if it's an easy change, why not make it? If they want a certain type of toilet paper, just give them that certain toilet paper. It's not going to break your bank.
Maybe 3-ply or the Cottonelle.
The best. The only one. Come on.
Yeah. We're always talking about costs, and I do have to mention, sometimes retaining talent, if you are able to take care of your employees through a vehicle about employee benefits, I represent Hub International, and I have my colleague here from BC that runs our National Employee Benefits Practice Group. And we can go as small as 3 employees to all the way up to thousands of employees as well. So if you haven't talked to Matthew, Matthew is representing Hub International here. Make sure you say hello. I think there's a flyer on everybody's table here. But really taking care of the industry, and we can tailor make something that, even if it's not affordable at this time, there's something called a healthcare spending account that would just get you started with those 3, 4, 5 employees, right? And that'll help retain talent as well. But sometimes a lot of the retailers, because we're so cash crunched all the time, it can be a very difficult decision, and we understand that. But tailor-made products can help you retain that staff. And I was talking to my friend Deep from the Pottery, and he was talking about addressing turnover and career growth, and he told me something very interesting where he's had the same manager for 4, 5+ years since the Cannabis Act even started in 2018. He was one of the first stores in Brampton. Addressing turnover and continuous career growth. Can we chat a little bit about that? Is there anything on your mind where, what does a bud tender do? How long does it take them to get to be a manager? How do they get the good shifts? Do they get a raise? ALLIE, why don't you kick us off on that?
I think that it's important to set them up for expectations from the get-go and make them realize that it's all on them. It's not for me to give you the promotion. I want you to get that goal of that promotion. I started as a chef. I was a chef for 7 years. I never touched retail. I never touched selling any product at all. I served people food. If I can do it, you can do it. But it's the dedication that you put into yourself and your work on a daily basis. I'm not just going to give it to you. If I see that person going out of their way to pick up shifts, to clean the bathroom, to do those things that I'm always going to nag people about, I'm going to give them that opportunity because I see them seeing the gaps.
Anybody else? Z, you can jump in.
I've experienced like having that manager role with my previous stores in Alberta, but then I changed my outlook when I moved to Ontario here, and what I found has been working very well is I split the duties of a manager between my staff. So it's all just kind of one level, so they all have to work together to make it work. And then if somebody does, leave for some odd reason or whatever, then the other team can help pick up that slack. So it's not one manager that quits and then, oh shit, how do you look after inventory? So I've found that spreading it out amongst them has really helped, and then they all feel like they're a part of it. They're, on OCS, like I said, they're helping with the accessories, reaching out to reps, and so I've found that flat level just really has been beneficial.
Great. Laura, see?
A big part of it for me is with the check-ins. Not only am I constantly watching my employees to see where I think their skills would really shine, but during my check-ins, I'm always asking them, not only how can I support you, but where do you see yourself in this industry in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And if you do see yourself still in this industry in that time frame, how can I help you grow into what you want to become in this industry? There's tons of different things and different ways you can flourish in the cannabis industry. I feel like it's just a matter of sort of finding what your niche is and taking whatever you can to expand on that. And I'm always there to help my employees in any way I possibly can to grow in any way they can. It also helps me as well. So it's a win-win.
And I find too, just for longevity goal setting, just simply goals, both long and short term, it keeps staff hungry. One thing that I'm constantly doing is I'm not training a bud tender. That's a bud tender in training to be a supervisor. I'm constantly training up. And to me, again, just to piggyback off what you were saying, the opportunity is there. Show me you want it. And I always keep that door open. I like to keep that door open. And there are staff I've had in the past who say, No, I'm good with holding the keys, opening the door, and going home. And that's okay too. And I think that that's important to recognize those staff members as well, keeping them there. Maybe someone is really happy where they are, keep them there if that's where they want to be. But I'm always open to training up, giving them those opportunities if they want them, and setting those future goals just to keep them hungry, and myself too, There's no passion without hunger, and you got to keep that hunger going. Because they'll find it somewhere else.
Yeah, they'll find us somewhere else. So now that we covered kind of retaining top talent, what a fantastic panel, by the way. You guys are doing a really good job, making my job really easy.
It's all you.
Yeah.
It's all you.
I
You're
wish.
carrying us, really.
I wish. But really, let's get into something very provocative here as far as the, fourth Big Rock item, and we're going to kind of bring it home in a couple of minutes. Thank you for bearing with us here. But I hope everybody's taken a little bit of nuggets from some of the best in the business here. Adapting to industry trends. How about this emerging marketplace that continues to change, continues to keep us on our toes, continues to kind of think about what's next? Every day is different. Every week is different. So how do we, navigate through industry trends that are impacting hiring? What if a store opens up around the corner and they're offering more money? What if one of the stores closed down? What if your store is about to close down? Like, all these kinds of things can happen. And how do you prepare for some of these industry trends? Nick, maybe we can start with you and go down the line.
I think it comes down to focusing on your store, your customers, what they're talking about, what they're needing, but also being aware that things are changing very fast nowadays. I'm old school, sticks and stones. We just went online this past month. So we went since 2018 to now, not online at all, because I refused to. I'm like, no, not doing it. But just from me being a bit stubborn, yeah, that's just my personality. But we're now online. I got one guy, he's on Reddit. So I'm not a technical person. So I hand off responsibilities to those that actually want to do that kind of stuff. But for me, my kind of lane is just making sure that our customers are looked after. We're carrying good product, and when these trends or things come and go, then at least we still have our good base at our store that we can kind of get through any of the rough seas that head our way.
ALLIE?
So a lot of people have been through shutdowns, been through store closures. It happens. Sometimes your store is the best, and now it's not. It happens to the best of us. But one thing that I've always thought is super important is no matter how long they've been with us, they should get severance. You should pay attention to those people because, yeah, they've only been with you for a month, but that month could have turned into 6 years and you don't know that, but that they didn't know that either. And setting them up for failure from letting them go isn't fair. I think it's important to make sure to leave them on a good note, and giving them 1 week of severance is not going to break our bank. And if it is, then we're in real big trouble.
Laura?
I think you kind of said it perfectly, Jay, where you kind of just you're always on your toes. I try my best to keep up on trends as much as I possibly can, and try and roll with as much of it as I can, as fast as it comes. But I think it's just a matter of trying the best you can to have some sort of a plan B, making sure that you're being very transparent with your employees, and not sort of just dropping a bomb on them. But also making sure that you're taking care of your customers, you're taking care of your staff, so that even if that store does open up down the road that may pay more money or whatever the case may be, they don't want to go to that store. They would rather stay because they love their manager, they love their coworkers, they love their customers, and they love where they work, going to work every day. So
That's great. And nobody likes to be blindsided, right? I love the transparency part. Imagine, you find out something that somebody thought that you knew, and it's an uncomfortable feeling. So why not be honest and open with all of your employees as well? Z, anything else about industry trends?
Well, I think as much as there's laneways we're seeing starting to open within this industry, it's still very much the Wild West. And I think that our ability to arm ourselves with adaptability and our team to be adaptable, like that to me is one of the first things I looked at when I'm looking at a new hire, is adaptability and open communication. I think with those two things, you can have a focus on solutions to the problems that arise with all these changes that we're seeing daily, weekly, monthly. And then your team can be a real support to you in how we all navigate that together.
All right, everybody, we're in the home stretch. I don't want anybody to rush outside, but it is 420, so we can celebrate that right now and feel good about it. Round of applause for 420. Okay, now don't run outside yet. We're almost done, okay? I promise. This next part, I just want everybody to kind of give a little bit of a tidbit, okay? So we're going to talk about a lot of the new retailers here. What is the best advice based on this topic? We're talking about training, retaining employees, attracting talent. What is the best advice that you can give a new retailer? And I know we covered a lot here, but what is one of the takeaways that you're burning to let everybody know and take away from this wonderful panel? ALLIE, go ahead.
Be patient with your employees. We're all human. I know we want to make revenue and we want to make sales, but pushing them too hard is just going to get pushed back to you. Making sure that they feel supported and heard. And it could be just sitting down as an owner. I've heard it multiple times from bigger chains. People are like, I've never met the owner of this company. I work for this company, I've never met them. And that is heartbreaking. Take that 2 seconds to sit down with every single one of your employees. Go into the store, make them feel seen and heard. It doesn't take away and does not devalue your time.
Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, for a new retailer opening up, just from my personal experience, it's kind of like you build into your sales, you build into your team. Don't go too heavy in the beginning, because I did that a few times and it bit me. So I've learned just to kind of ease into things, and as your customer base grows, your portfolio for your product grows, your staff grows, so not to put, again, like you said, too much responsibility on them in the beginning. It could be slow for 6 months or a year while you kind of claw in your customers from other stores. So just low and slow and go from there.
I would say communication, transparency, support, and humor will get you a very long way.
And I would say just listen to your staff and keep your boots on the ground.
All right, last one. Now, we went on a wild ride here. We had our ups and downs. I even talked about firing people, which is terrible. It makes me uncomfortable. But I want to really round out this panel with some success stories, okay? Tell us something that you can share with some of the new retailers, the OG retailers, the pioneers, somebody thinking about opening up a shop. What are some of the success stories where you can share about executing a hire, a retention strategy that made a real positive impact on the business? Would love to hear from all of you.
So most recently, I had to flip one of my locations. I flipped the most important piece of my staff, which was the store manager. That was a huge breakdown for that store. I lost a lot of the staff. I ended up getting a call from somebody that used to work for me 2 years before that. He only worked for me for a year, was really sad that he had to leave his own personal reasons, and he wanted to come back working for me. He ended up working with me for 3 months, and now he's the assistant store manager. He's doing phenomenal. I've worked with him. I've gotten pretty bad feedback from him. I've gotten, the attitude, and I just sat him down and I said, listen, if you're going to have the attitude, then we can't move forward. And honestly, it's turned him around. He's really educated, and he loves doing it.
I had one girl who very much struggled with being late. And I actually started a bit of like a program with her where not only did I have her setting certain alarms so that she had to meet certain times to be ready. But we ended up, after 3 months, she was not only on time for every shift, but she was a good 15 minutes on time for every shift. So worked out beautifully. It's all about sort of keeping, I guess, the strict set of this is what I expect from you.
Sure. Yeah. It feels really good when I'm working either by myself or with somebody else that a customer comes in and asks where that other person is. Hey, where is your, Sarah or Connor? They're always asking about the staff that aren't there when we're there, which is a good feeling because you know that when you're not there, then that employee is doing the right thing with their customers, the right interactions. They're making them feel good. They're coming back, asking, where the hell are they? It's their day off, so.
A huge success that I'm particularly proud of was a store that we were, me and the team were operating, was slated to close actually very recently. And not only that, we had a competitor across the street, we then had a competitor pop up over here and over here, all within about 50 meters, maybe less than 100 meters. I have to say, with the help of the team, with the help of a strategy, with the help of everybody, because I didn't do it myself. It was those people who supported me, and through my support of them, not only is that store still open, that store is operating without a manager because it's doing so well. They don't need me. I'm off to the next, place. And we've seen a huge upturn in growth there, and that is purely because of the people who are at that store, their passion to keep that store open. We put that ownership in their hands. We were fully transparent with them, and I'd like to think that that they feel as successful with that as I do. But I'm so proud of them, and that store's still open.
Great. That's fantastic. So, tough managers, amazing success. I can't thank you guys enough for your time today. I hope everybody learned a lot. In my opinion, this was the best panel, that's for sure, not being biased at all. I want to give a shout out to our partners from Green Shield. They offer the best employee benefits for the cannabis industry. Make sure you talk to our team over there. Leah Sandino and Matt are there to answer any of your questions from a risk management strategy. If anybody parked beside here at the body shop, they close the gates at 5 o'clock, so make sure you move your car because we're not paying for your tow or your impound bill. And I just wanted to, really say, keep fighting the good fight. I know it's tough out there, but there's a lot of great people here that do a lot of great work. Protect your employees, care about your employees, and make sure that you take some of these amazing principles here and execute them in your strategy. We wish you nothing but success. You keep fighting cannabis industry. We're here with you and to support you every day of the week, all right? And I know it's past 4:20, but I'll just end it with the smoke weed every day. Thank you, everyone.